right, next video. So this is going to be setting up your scene to be ready to be animated. So you should have a project folder that should be like your last name, film. That's what we've been working in this whole time. So when you made your character, it's in the scenes folder of that project folder. When you made the environment, it's in the scenes folder of that project folder. So that's where you should be. Now, to set up the scene, this is what you need to do. We need to reference both items into the same scene, but we can't do that right away, and I'm going to show you why. So if I do, if I reference in, can I grab both? I can, right? Now, okay. Let's say I reference in my environment. Don't do this. I'm just showing you. Okay, good. And then I also reference in my character. Great reference. Okay. You might notice a small problem. Hopefully you notice the small problem. Right? Like the character is, I mean, that's the kind of story I'm going for. And generally speaking, I don't know if this is, oh, this is scalable. Most of the time characters are not scalable, and it's not generally a good idea to scale your rig. Later on you won't be able to do that. This rig probably is scalable because it's meant to work with mocap data. So what we need to do is we need to scale the environment. But the problem is I can't just grab like the environment pieces, because if I try to scale them, you can see it scales perfectly well. But it probably won't scale correctly. So we can't do this. So what I want you to do first is to go ahead and open up your environment. Okay. Continue. Open up your environment like this. And then what I want you to do next is, I'm going to turn this grid off. I want you to make sure you have access to everything. See how like these might be referenced. So just make sure they're unreferenced. I want you to go to Edit, delete all by type history. That'll make sure all the extra stuff is, the history is deleted. And then I want you to go to Windows, General Editors, Hypergraph Hierarchy. It's going to bring up this window. And then do me a favor and just hit A. And you should see all of the items. Now you probably have a whole bunch. What I want you to do is just click and drag all of them so you have everything in there. And then hit Control or Command if you're on a Mac, G. So Control G or Command G. And what that's going to do is it's going to take everything that you grabbed and put them into a group. Okay? So if I click on anything, hit the up arrow, it moves up the hierarchy. If I hit the down arrow, it moves down the hierarchy. So if I click on anything, everything's part of a group. And now when I go to scale it, it will scale together appropriately. Okay? Good. All right. That's really all we need to do in here. So you can close this panel and then just Control S to save it. Just save it over top of your environment now that it's all grouped together, and then make a new scene. Just go File, New Scene, or don't save, or you can just a little sheet of paper. Now we have a new scene. Now we can reference in those items. So go to File, Create Reference, and I want you to reference in the environment. Continue. There it is. And do File. Where are you at? Create reference. And I want you to reference in your character. Okay? And continue. Great. So now what we need to do is we need to scale my environment. So just click on anything that's your environment and hit the up arrow. Just keep hitting it until you get everything that's in there. Then hit R for scale. And just scale the environment to the player so that it is the correct size for the player. So we'll say, or not the player, the character. Okay? And once you're happy with it, I'm just going to go ahead and reference my items. So now I can't select those, and I can only select my character. I can move my character by grabbing the locator. It's that central, I don't know why that happens. There's like two of them for whatever reason. By grabbing that center star thing. Okay, it's a locator, but all right. So you can move it there, and then let's go ahead and save this scene. Control Shift S, or File Save As, and we'll just call this anim_v01. Okay, good. Now you're gonna notice you have to save it 3 times. The reason why is you have to save it because it's a student's file, but you have to save it because there's the environment that you're saving, the reference character that you're saving, and then the actual file itself. So that's why you have to click it 3 times in case you have to do it multiple times. That's the reason. Okay, so now everything's in here. Now let's set up our scene, if you will. Okay, So, like I said, you can move the character into rough position into the blocking. Let's say I just want him to be over here or something by grabbing that. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of set up my layout for animation purposes. Okay. So, what we're going to want to do is we can use our perspective camera to, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that actually. Okay. So basically you set up like that and everything's saved, and then you can start animating. So if I was going to animate this character, let's say I just want him to like go into this house, right? Like that's the scene, it's him going to the house. So I'd grab the main thing, I'd get him into a rough position. Let's say he's going to start like here, I'm just going to have him walk in there or something. Or maybe I have him look over here and then start to go that way. This is what you're going to want to do. Select, so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to open up the human IK thing. And we'll just leave this one on, that's fine. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'm going to get him just into a rough position of what I want him to look like probably his hands would be down, he wouldn't be standing up like that, that's kind of weird. So I'm going to move that down and hit key, I want to move this down, right, and hit S for key, and I'm going to take this hips and maybe move it down a little, because usually people aren't standing, hit key, S for key, don't forget, and I'm going to turn his foot a little bit this way, because usually people, key. I'm going to grab this, because this controls the knee. I'm going to pull it this way, and key. And maybe, I don't know, have him kind of like this, and key. Alright, so that way he's like in a general position. Alright, and then I'm just going to have him, I don't know, look to the right, and then look to the left. So all we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, it looks like that. And then I'm going to say, okay, so how long is it going to take? So if I'm running 24 frames per second, probably take them, one second, probably less than a second to look over. So I'm just going to go to 1 second. So we'll go to 24 frames. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. You can see I already have a key here. And I'm just going to kind of key him like this. S. So now you can see, that's weird. Let's see, boom. And I don't really understand what's going on there. I wonder if it's something to do with this. I think it is. Okay. Alright, let's undo all that real quick. Actually, let's redo all that. I'm going to set this back to the 0 position. So I'm just going to zero that out, zero that out, zero that out. Okay. And I'm going to move him over. Let me see something real quick. We're going to move them over by grabbing the feet and the torso there. So we're going to grab these items here, and I'm just going to pull him. That's weird. Let's go world. Okay. Grab him. I'm going to pull him out here this way. So you want to grab his hips and his legs. Okay. And then I went to the tool settings and I went world, and I just pulled him out here. Then key that. And switch this back to, we'll leave it on world actually. Okay. Alright, so a little bit of a hiccup there. Alright, so we're going to go like that, and then we'll say at 24, I'm just going to have him look over this way, and now you can see he's going to go like that. But I should have more key than just one element, right? So I'm going to take his foot and have his foot move back a little bit and rotate a little bit. Alright, so it's like this. And then I'll also have his arm. Make sure they all have keys on the first one, otherwise I won't do anything. Have his arm kind of, oops, let's not do that way. Let's grab this, W. Just kind of pull his arm forward a little bit. Let's pull it this way a little bit too. And I'll take this one and move this one back a little bit. And then we'll take this and rotate this over a little bit more, like that. Okay, so now he's like, huh? And then here's the thing. This is the problem that everyone always does. He needs to basically do that. He needs to hold the pose and then do the next thing. A lot of times what people do is this, and I'll just show you. They'll then, okay, so he's going to look left, and then he's going to look, let's say, the other direction. So we're going to say 48, right? So the next second over. So I'll take this, and I'll rotate it this direction. And then we'll take this foot and move this one forward, and I'll rotate it. And then we'll take, this arm here, and I'll move this one forward. And we'll take this arm and move this one back. And then we'll take this and rotate this like that. Okay. And take this, not you, this curve here. There we go. And you can see there's, I'll just do it actually so you can see that it doesn't look the way you want. W. Alright, like that. And what you're going to see is it's not going to look good. See how it's kind of weird? Like he kind of goes that way and then he goes that way. And notice that this foot is sliding the whole time. See how it's sliding from the one? The reason being is that we put this post here to go to here, right? And then we did the next one. But if you look at this foot specifically, you can see he only has a key on here and at 48. So he's blending the whole time from 1 to 48. So what you want to do is copy 1. So I'm in middle mouse button, click and drag to 24, S to key it, and then you'll see his foot will generally stay there, and then it will go the other direction. Now, so here's what you need to have happen, is that this is where people usually mess up. You need to have him do his pose, then hold the pose, then do the next pose, then hold that pose. If you look at animations, be it Disney or Pixar or whoever, you're going to see that generally people will go from one pose, and they might do little things like maybe talk, right, and do a gesture, and then they'll go to another pose and talk and do a gesture. Now, they'll do often what's called a moving hold, which means they go to a pose, and they'll move a little bit, like their hands will move a little bit, or they'll slowly, gradually go into that move, and then they'll go into the next one. So what I want to do is, after he goes like this, I want him to hold for a second, and then start to go to, and then go to this one, then hold for a second, and then do the next thing, okay? So what I'm going to do is go to here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and grab all the controllers. So I got, just so you get an idea, 4. I'm going to grab this one, let's hit 5 so you can see it, this one, all the things that I keyed, okay, right there. So I got all those. I'm going to hit S to key it just to make sure they're keyed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to middle mouse button, and let's say we go to 42, key. So now, he'll go like this, he'll kind of hold, and then he'll go to the other one. Now, while I still have this selected, let's say I want to move this key, because now that's too fast, right? All I got to do is this. If you hold Shift and click on it, it'll become this red thing. That means it's highlighted. So if you hold Shift, click, and drag, you can highlight a whole section, and you can slide it by moving this. But I only want one, so I'm just going to hold Shift, click and drag on this, or click on this one. I'm just going to grab this, I'm going to pull it over to 60. Okay, so now if I hit play, he goes like this, kind of holds, it goes that, and then, we could go on and so on and so forth. Let's just for fun, let's just say we have him walk over here. All I'm going to do now is basically this. Let's see, so it's going to be every 12 frames, so I'm going to go to 72 for one step. And I'm saying, okay, so he's going to kind of go forward. Let's go down a little bit. And trying to get him over here. Okay. And that's keyed already. Then we'll take this, and this foot's going to come forward for this step. And we'll rotate it around. Alright, and we'll also take this guy and move this guy over. Okay. And then this arm would move back. Right, because that's that. And this arm would move in the opposite direction. Okay. And then this, this would rotate kind of that way. Alright, so he goes boom. And I'm just going to do a real basic walkover because it's not going to be easy to do. So then we're going to say another 12 frames after that, right? So we're going to say 84. So then I'll just take his hips. Come on. W. And we'll just move it this way. Alright, that's good. And then we'll take this one. Now here's the thing. I want his foot when he's stepping to stay there until 72 and then to start moving. If I put a key now at 84, he's going to slide all the way from here, this foot here I'm talking about, to 84. So what I need to do is at 72, I have to hit S to key it there so it doesn't move. So from here to here, it's the same key. And now I'm going to go to 84 and actually put it in position. Move his knee over here too. A nice little foot weird twist. That's cool. So we're going to try that Euler filter thing again. So let's grab this. I'm going to go to Windows, General Editor, or sorry, Animation Editors, Graph Editor. And then that is rotating weirdly on the x-axis. I'm going to go like this and go to Curves, Euler Filter. And that once again is acting weird. So we're going to go ahead and go to Curves, change and do Independent Euler. Okay, and now let's try to do Curves Euler Filter. See if that fixes it. And it did not. Okay, so see how, like, if you look at the X, see how it's like doing this and all of a sudden it tanks? So I'm going to grab this one. I'm just going to pull it up. And let's see. There really shouldn't be much of a rotation. Let me see. Can I grab all you guys' curves? And Euler filter. Let's see if we can just... Okay, that worked. I just fixed it that way. Okay. So, there we go. Let's close that out. Alright. So, boom. Right, so he does his next step. So then this one would come... Actually, let's grab it by here. This one would, it's not 82. Should be 84. Try to put your keyframes all in the same ones. It just makes it easier to work with. So this arm would come forward. I'm not doing a good job, obviously. And then this arm, I guess, would go back. Because he's, yeah. This arm should have been coming forward on this one. I think I might have done that wrong last time. I'm not sure. Make sure that these are right. Yep, and that. Okay, good. And then he would step, so on and so forth. Okay, now from there, obviously, I would do things where I'd like make the up and down position, and I would make it look better and do all the, like, you know, on this thing, right, from here to here, his foot should go up, right, like we did in the first one. So his foot would go up and then step, and then just before the step, you'd have it kind of go like this, so that way it would step. You see what I'm saying? But I would just try to get it roughly from one spot to another, and then you just kind of go like that, right? So if you look at it, it looks really bad, but okay. And that's roughly how you're going to kind of animate your scene. Just kind of go from one to the next, and then work your way down. Yeah. So try to animate your film. I'm going to give you guys a couple weeks to do this, just because it is going to be a bit cumbersome to try and animate the whole thing. And I know you guys are going to probably struggle a little bit with it, but should be good to go. All right, so good luck.